Hi, my name is Shelly Fields. I work for Arvest Bank, and today I'll be reading Merry Christmas, Curious George. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man in the yellow hat. He was a very good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George was visiting a Christmas tree farm. "You can help me pick out the perfect tree for our home," his friend told him. "Keep close, though." George promised to be good, but little monkeys sometimes forget. The tree farm had more trees than George had ever seen. He found a very nice one right away, but then another one caught his eye, and then another one, and then another. George was curious how many trees could be here. George could not resist climbing up the tallest tree to get a better view. He looked for the man in the yellow hat, but his friend was nowhere in sight. Two men tromped into the clearing. "There's our tree," one man told the other. The men cut down the tree and loaded it onto the truck. Along with George, George held on tightly. He saw the man with the yellow hat as the truck drove away, but the truck was going too fast. George could not jump off. He was scared and still a little curious. Soon, the truck stopped in front of the hospital. George peeked out of the branches and the men carried his tree inside. The hospital was a busy place. George jumped out of the tree. There was lots there to see and do. He looked at some of the interesting pictures. He found a jacket and tried it on. He played on a trampoline. He even went on a ride on a speedy little cart. What fun! Then George spotted something very interesting, his tree. George knew the Christmas tree was supposed to have tinsel and twinkling little lights and shiny ornaments, but this tree was very empty. George thought and thought, and then he had an idea. Next, George noticed a pile of gifts in the corner of the room. The gifts looked pretty, but George was curious. Could he make them look even prettier? The red bow would look much better on a green box, and the name tags might look nicer on a different package. The nurse arrived, and what did she see? A monkey, and he's making a big mess. A group of children crowded around the nurse. They were all patients at the hospital. Even though it was almost Christmas, the children were not smiling or looking happy. "Come along," the nurse said, picking George up. "I'd better get you out of here before you get into any other trouble." A girl with a cast stared at George's tree. Suddenly, she giggled. "Look," she said, "it's my X-ray." The boy laughed. "And there's the balloon from my room." All the children started chattering and laughing as they looked at George's funny decorations. "Can he stay for the party?" the boy asked the nurse. "We don't mind about the gifts. It will be fun to sort them out. Please let him stay, please." The other children chimed in. When he saw how happy the children looked and the nurse looked happier too, "I suppose he can stay," she said, "if he promises to help fix the tree." George was happy to help. The children helped too. Some of them returned George's decorations, while others handed George the real ornaments. He scampered up and down, stringing lights and hanging tinsel, being a monkey as he was good at that sort of thing. He was also good at making children laugh. When the tree was finished, George helped open the gifts. He was having such a good time, he completely forgot he was lost. Until the man in the yellow hat hurried into the room. "There you are, George," he cried. "I followed that truck all the way here." George was very happy to be reunited with his friend. The nurse invited them to both stay for milk and cookies. Ho, 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 did somebody mention milk and cookies? A man in the red suit walked into the room, his belly giggling. He was holding a beautiful golden star. George's eyes widened. It was Santa Claus. "Who would like to put the star on the top of the tree?" Santa asked. "George," the children cried all at once. "Let's let George do it." George scurried up the tree. One last time, he put the golden star in place carefully. Merry Christmas, George. Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed this story. Thank you for watching the video.